Count money, man. Stack riches. Try and told him I'm a beast bud.
What's up, gang? Welcome back to another episode of the GRINDcast. Get ready. It's a new day. And the title today is Own Your Path or Stay Stuck. So we gotta have accountability. We gotta have high standards, and we gotta take control of where it is that we're going. You know, I think when your mind is still developing, you know, weak-minded folks blame circumstances. But to me, that's just also known as excuses, but they blame circumstances of this is why. And strong minds build despite circumstances, regardless. It's not, if you think everything's going to be perfect in order for you to be able to execute, you're going to be waiting a long time to be able to execute. So you got to be able to learn that we can't blame circumstances. We got to be able to build regardless of what the circumstances are, because excuses feel good right now, but then they cost us down the road in the future. They feel good to us right now. It's like, all right, this is my reason why. It gives you a little bit of, you know, the poor me, you know, syndrome of this is all the stuff. But then it doesn't get you the results. This is what we got to understand. It's like, I get it. There's always good excuses. There's always good reasons why you couldn't do something. I mean, you could sell yourself into and out of any situation with a bunch of good excuses, and it may take care of the moment, but at the end of the day, do you want results or do you want excuses? Because if you want results, you got to lose excuses. And if you want excuses, you got to lose the results, because the excuses are what cost you your future down the road, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years from today. We got to set the tone with having high standards. High standards is what gives us high results. A high expectation of yourself, high expectation of others. And mediocrity starts when you start settling for less than high standards, less than greatness. You know, this is like, you know, the average, here's the conversation when people start settling for mediocrity. You know, it's hard to push to this number because the average number says, you know, that you can only get 2, or the average person only gets, you know, 3. Okay, well, if you want us to be average, then let's keep talking about the average. If you want to coach this person to average, then let's keep talking about the average. But if we want to get high results, we can't talk about the averages. We got to coach people to greatness. We got to coach people to, what are the 1% doing? What are the top 5% doing? What are the top 10% doing? And have an expectation of them and ourselves of, this is what we're going to do. Not, hey, we're doing all right, or let's shoot for mediocrity. When you shoot for mediocrity, you usually get under that. When you shoot for good, you usually get mediocrity. When you shoot for great, you usually get good. And when you shoot for things that are off the charts, that aren't even typically humanly possible, it almost is so big that it takes this spiritual out-of-body experience that you have to leave your own physical being and get into the spiritual realm, because it's such a big goal that you're going to need that level of help that you can get greatness. But it all boils down to your standards. High standards gives you high results. So if you got high standards and you work like you got high standards and you don't accept mediocrity, now you can move your way towards greatness. But I think the brother or sister to that, to the high standards and the high results, is going to be discipline. Because discipline gives you control over your destiny. To me, the foundational building block of greatness is going to be discipline. Because we got to build all these other things on top of this building block. We got to build all these things from the foundation to give you that greatness at the top. We got to build all these things. And on the bottom of it is discipline, because all these things we got to stack on top of discipline, a bunch of them suck. It's no excuses. It's sacrifices. It's missing birthdays. It's not eating this. It's not going there. It's going to bed earlier. It's waking up earlier. It's investing this much money. It's giving up this. It's so many things that lead you to greatness that are a bunch of little small things that you don't feel like doing, that at the bottom of that is we got to lay the foundation with some discipline. And discipline is where you start to take control over your destiny. Discipline is where you take control of. There's some things, and I'll beat us over the head with this, GRINDcast family. I'll beat us over the head with this. Nick Saban, his definition, for those of you that don't know Nick Saban, just look him up, Nick Saban. His definition of discipline, simply put, that I feel like I can explain to a second grader, is there's something that you want to do that you know you shouldn't do. Can you get yourself to not do it? And then on the flip side, there's something that you don't want to do that you know you should do. Can you get yourself to do that? Can you get yourself to do it? That's discipline. So there's something, man, I don't feel like doing this. I don't like that. Feel and like gets you losses. Feel and like. Right? Anybody that got kids? I don't like that. I don't feel like it. I don't want to. Right? Well, then we grow up as adults and start with that stuff. I don't like that. I don't like the taste of that. I don't like the taste of a lot of things that I got to eat, but I eat that to try to stay in shape. If I did everything that I felt like doing, man, I'd be in trouble. I feel like eating, what I feel like doing, what time I feel like going to bed, when I feel like waking up, what I feel like gets you losses. So the only thing that's going to get you consistent wins is discipline, taking control of. There's some stuff that I know I shouldn't do. I want to do it. I want to say it, but I'm not. I want to do it, but I'm not, because it ain't good for me. And then there's things over here. There's a bunch of stuff that I don't feel like doing, I don't want to do, but I know I need to do this in order to grow, in order to win. I'm going to get myself to do it anyways, regardless if I feel like doing it. That's where the growth is at. That's called discipline. That's why most people are stuck, because they tolerate their own laziness or lack of discipline to what they feel like. They lose their destiny to what they feel like doing, not what needs to happen. And so when you look at yourself and you hold yourself to a higher standard with accountability, the ability to be accounted for, the ability to be answerable to something or someone, even if it's yourself, accountability is not punishment, it's power. That's why it goes back again to what we've been talking about is humility. A lot of people don't have enough humility to be held accountable. They don't have enough strength to be held accountable. Their ego gets in the way. And so accountability is answerable to these actions. So do you have a coach? Do you have a mentor? Do you have somebody that can hold you accountable and answerable to these actions? This is what you said you wanted to do. All right, why didn't you do it? Answerable to that. Accountability. That's not punishment. People hear the word accountability and they automatically think it's just negative and it's punishment. Accountability is what brings you strength and power and growth. So we gotta show up. You know, how many people don't grow just because they just won't show up? That's why we're going to go back to the OG Maxwell. He says to go up, you got to grow up. You got to get up. But one of those things he talks about is you got to show up. You got to show up to go up. You know how many people want to go up, but they don't even show up? They don't show up to the meeting. They don't show up to the practice. They don't show up to the workshop. They don't show up consistent enough. They don't show up. So we got to show up. Then we got to own it. Own what? Own our destiny. Own what we're doing right now. Own it. Self-responsibility, self-reflection. And then we got to raise our standards of ourself and others. I'm not saying, I'm better than all these other people, right? That's average talking of like, well, I'm not the only one. Look at all these other people. They're not staying late. They're not coming early. I'm doing better than so-and-so. You got to raise your standards. Talk to me about what the 1% are doing. Are you doing that? That's how you raise your standards. Is my expectation level is what the 1% is doing. So I'm going to show up consistently. I'm going to own my stuff and not have excuses. I'm going to have a little bit of self-accountability and reflection. I'm going to increase my standards where I'm looking at what the 1% are doing, and then I'm going to repeat those things with some discipline. If we want a different life, we got to start acting like it right now. No more time to wait, no more time to waste. Either you're going to rise or you're going to stay stuck. Really, you heard the term, we're either growing or we're what? Yep, say it with me. We're either growing or we're what? Yep, growing or we're dying. You're either going forwards or you're going backwards. There's typically is no we're going to stay in the same area. We're either going to get worse or we're going to get better. There's no middle ground. Either you rise or you stay stuck. Choose to rise. And if you choose to rise and elevate and grow, that means you got to choose discipline as the foundation of it all. We got to get to work. You're a grown man. You're a grown woman. We got to do the things we don't feel like doing that we know we need to do. We got to stop doing the stuff that's pulling us down that we need to stop doing. Put at the foundation of that discipline. Choose to elevate yourself and own your game, own your path, or we're going to stay stuck or we're even going to go backwards. All right? Those of you listening to this, you're already on that path. You already took time to invest into yourself. Now the next step is to implement this stuff. Note takers or money makers, go look over some steps that you can implement from this. And then your give back could be as if it helped you at all. Would you mind sharing this? Hit the forward button, the share button. Share it to some people that you think we can impact. And as always, we appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us. As always, thanks for joining us on another episode of the GRINDcast. Get ready. It's a new day.